So you and I have been around the gaming scene since obviously at least the NES days, right?
Yeah.
We played our fair share of shit growing up, and we decided to come up with a list of our guilty pleasures. So, as if our gamer cred wasn't already teetering on the edge of a cliff, this is where we throw ourselves down to the rocks below.
Yes, yes. We can feel your hate for our picks right now.
Yes. So, first thing I need to do is I need to, quote, define the terms. And you can thank Jordan Peterson and his 12 Rules for Life for this one. Firstly, we're defining guilty pleasures as not, and I repeat, not a hidden gem. Those are good games that are relatively unknown or often overlooked, but still good.
Cult classics.
That'll be a different episode eventually. We're talking about guilty pleasures, games that are reviled by the gaming community for bad gameplay, absurd premises, bugs, or who knows what the fuck.
Games that are just not in popular opinion with people.
Yes. Here's where we're drawing from our top guilty pleasures, and we're going to pick 3 of them each, and we're going to alternate, all right?
Sounds good.
So I'm actually ranking mine in order.
Yeah, I'm going in order too.
All right, cool.
I'm going in order of Metacritic, actually.
Nice. So I'm just going in order of what I think is my favorite, my least of the 3 favorites to my most favorite guilty pleasure. Number 3, and you're going to recognize this one.
Yes.
Is one of the most notorious games on the classic NES, but also one I've spent entirely way too much time on, even to this day, only to have its infamous game over screen permanently burned into my retinas. It's a game that made me always carry a pocket full of rocks every time I went down to a lake, and as an elementary schooler, the game's antagonist was a focus of fascination on my forming mind, despite never seeing any of the films in the famous franchise. I'm talking about Jason Voorhees in the NES game Friday the 13th.
It's good shit. It's a good game. It's a hell of a good game. I love the hell out of it.
Intro, you're just like, good shit. Here's the thing, you beat it though. You actually beat. You're one of the few people on Earth who's actually fucking beat it.
Yeah,
that's resilience.
That is a. Oh my god! I remember just being like, I mean, my hands were shaking, you know, on the final fight there, because there's just so much goes into it, and you got to go and do everything in certain sequences. And you know, this is back in that time where there's no internet. You know, you're having to piece all this shit together about through trial and error, and that game is. It's a hard game to even survive for a half hour in. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, the reason why I kind of like it is certainly not the repetitious music. Certainly not the combat, although the little Mike Tyson bit in it's not terrible. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it kind of like, in the age of horror games, being like walking around and punching witches and ghosts and spiders and shit, like the Nightmare on Elm Street game specifically? Isn't the Friday the 13th game kind of ahead of its time? It's not perfect, but isn't it kind of ahead of its time as far as like, granted, you still throw rocks at zombies and shit, but you have to find weapons and defend yourself. You have to find items to take down the baddie. You have to confront the baddie, and you have to like actively like seek him out and light fireplaces, find his mom's head, kill that, and finally you can kill him. Mm-hmm. Does it just me, or does it kind of sound like a wonky precursor to modern day survival horror?
Yeah, no, I mean, with just having to, first of all, manage a set of different characters, and then, like you said there, then I mean, you're having to travel around, because then he would go to the cabins of these characters, and if you don't make it there fast enough, he kills off your character before you even get to play him. Yep. And so there's a lot of strategy with that. There's a lot of risk reward. I remember, you could be able to, if you need to make it across the lake, to be able to get to places faster, there's a chance that he's going to just swim right through you, and there is no dodging that whatsoever. Just like
Jaws, he freaking runs right over your ass.
Yeah, just right through you, and you just lose health right there immediately. But going through the houses was
suspenseful, man. Especially when you know he's there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like you go in this dark ass house, turning corners.
The way that those houses worked when you went into them, where was like you have like kind of like the old Deja Vu game, where you would see the room and it's like, where do you want to go, left, right, whatever, So you're exploring this house. It's got creepy music going on there. Then it could be night or day, because it did have a night and day cycle, just going through this house with this music, and then he just pops up out of nowhere on you.
Yeah, and
it's a jump. Yep, it's a jump scare every time.
Yes,
like you know he's there, but it still gets you because I mean it's terrifying, and then you have to jump into action immediately. He'll come at you, and you've got to just do this whole punch out kind of gameplay where you're leaning left and right and dodging his attacks and then hitting him back.
Yeah, there's no flight, man. You got to fight, and you got to fight to the bitter end. Whether you have a sack full of rocks or if you actually have a pitchfork or a torch.
Oh, the pitchforks!
You gotta play it through, man. Otherwise, your character dies, and there's no extra lives. The extra lives are like the 6 character kids you get.
Yep.
Exactly. And then every time you lose a kid, it makes it that much harder to get to another spot on the map where Jason's sat to save the kids inside of it. I mean, especially Jason's in cabins killing kids. I mean, this is a brutal ass game, especially the iconic in screen. You and your friends are dead.
Yeah.
For the time, that was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
now they captured the movie series for pretty damn well. Yeah. I mean, at least for back then.
The limited technology, again, they're kind of pioneering something here. It was not by no means was it great.
Yeah.
But they were pioneering something that I think that people have kind of like evolved the idea further and further and further until you have, obviously Friday the 13th on the on Steam and whatnot, where again it's a little bit wonky though, but it's a pretty tight action survival game where one person plays Jason, the other people play counselors, and apparently the counselors can team up and beat the shit out of Jason, but
yeah,
again, nothing's perfect. All right, Bob.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say beyond this?
Oh, no. That's
right.
I mean, that's about it really for me.
Again, you beat the game, so you're the expert in this. I've only casually. I'm a casual when it comes to Friday the 13th. But it's a decent casual game if you just don't mind beating it, But
yeah, or as long as you're not suspect to rage quitting, because that game will make you do it.
Oh yeah,
it's rough because you're not just fighting him in these cabins when he shows up in a cabin somewhere on the map or whatnot. It's a side-scrolling game, so you're running around and shit, and then suddenly Jason appears
on the road,
and so then you have to fight him there, and you could already be low health. Yeah, he's throwing everything at you there, and then meanwhile you could probably sometimes you would have like a power-up that's in the middle of the screen that you don't want, like it's a downgrade to the weapon you already have. So then you're having to jump and dodge around that.
Pebble shows up.
Yep, exactly, and then you're really hosed because it's hard to build up your weapons. So
one thing I can actually say I really don't like, but of course it makes sense to have them in there, are like the zombies and the birds and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise there wouldn't be much gameplay. I mean,
it'd be very empty.
Yeah. So the zombies and shit, they're out of place as far as the franchise, but for a game gimmick and just kind of pat it out, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too.
And the music is still iconic. There's an excellent remake that you may have seen in one of our old couch co-ops where we play Friday the 13th. I'll try posting a link here, but it's still an iconic track, even though it has like 6 notes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of, just like how the
John Carpenter's
Halloween theme. Yep, Halloween theme is. I mean, that is still a theme that chills me to the bone, and there's not much to it. Have you ever played Halloween on the Atari 2600? No.
Have you ever played Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the Atari 2600?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you actually play as Leatherface, and you're supposed to go around and chainsaw girls.
I'm all about that. Why not?
Anyways, so since Friday the 13th isn't on your guilty pleasure list, what do you got?
All right, so I'm gonna go from in terms of Metacritic, I'm gonna go from the highest down to the lowest for my top 3 here.
So he's going from a better game to an even worse game as we go.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be dwindling down here. So at a stable 71 Metascore with a 4.9 user score, is Mass Effect Andromeda. Wow. I love Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, yeah, because I know we were giving you shit the other night for it. I wouldn't expect you to put it on the list. You were saying that they patched the hell out of the game and now it's playable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They did. They didn't just say, you know what? Oh, well, this is that.
Whoopsie.
You know, yeah, they put in some good work
Nice.
to be able to make this game at least. You know, it doesn't look like everyone has a shocked look on their face.
That's not Uncanny Valley. That's Uncanny Pit.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. But there are so many things about this game that are good too. I mean, the classes are a lot better. I mean, better than they've been before. So you have more options on what you want to build your hero to be. But then, you know, there's I enjoy the story. I think it's a cool setting. The story doesn't move very much, so the setting is really kind of what you have to focus on, that humanity gets, or all of these different species gets or races get blasted into the future. You know, you're like 500 something 600, I think it's 600 years that you're in cryo, and then you're going towards these planets that are supposed to be habitable, and then you show up and none of them are, and you have to figure out what the fuck to do.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's a really cool story. I think that's a really cool basis for a sci-fi story.
That's a great premise, because I actually think that eventually, if we get cryo working, that's what the human race is actually going to try doing.
Oh yeah, dude, sign me up for that too. I don't give a shit.
We already know about you and Mars, so we'll just post a link. Let's post a link here, and you guys can go watch Bob's Adventures on Mars.
Yeah, fuck, testing all sorts of gravity shit.
There's no gravity in Mars. Crash. There's gravity on Mars.
That sucked. But it's a cool setting. The story itself kind of stumbles quite a bit. So don't play this game if you're looking for a really gripping story. But if you're liking a sci-fi game that has a cool setting, then this is pretty solid. But the combat, though, is better than it ever has been in the Mass Effect games. And that, to me, was a huge bit. I mean, being able to just fluently move everywhere, fluently, it's just makes everything so much more fun. You could be able to combo up with your abilities and all that. It makes things a lot more fun. I really enjoyed that.
I played quite a bit of Mass Effect 2, and I went back and played Mass Effect 1 about to the halfway mark. So I never finished either one. But I remember that the combat in either game wasn't... I mean, it was, standard third-person shooter fare, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's your standard. It's a little stiff, but it works pretty decently. I'm still a huge fan of the first Mass Effect game, but the combat is it's a little clunky. But here it feels as refined as ever, and with these kind of games where there's so much combat in it, that's important. And so yeah, I enjoyed it though. They have the characters in the game are make and break. They are either pretty damn cool, or they absolutely suck ass, aka Liam, because that character sucks ass. Oh my god, most annoying thing. Like I call these characters Karth characters, where from Knights of the Old Republic, Karth is one of the most annoying fucking characters in a game ever. And so any time past that, if I'm playing an RPG game that just absolutely has a character that sucks, that character is Karth. That is a Karth character. So Liam is certainly...
Karth of Coda, huh?
Yeah, dude, Karth sucks.
Kotar, sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, no, I really like this game though. I think that the judgment that it had at the beginning was well founded, because it was a bit of a mess, and even then, at that point, I was kind of I wasn't completely in on it, because it was just such a departure from the well-oiled machine that was the Mass Effect series before, but. After a few months, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it another shot, and I'm glad I did, because going in without expectations can make a bad game good. Sometimes we go into games where we expect so much of it, and it doesn't live up to those expectations. So to just give a game a rest for a little bit and then come back into it with just an open mind, clean slate, can make you see a whole bunch of things, and it certainly did that for me. I really enjoyed this.
Because the last I heard of the Mass Effect Andromeda was it was a mess, and that was going to be the last Mass Effect game. I never even heard of it really getting patched. So
yeah. No, it
shows
looks solid now.
Yeah, shows what that first impression does is it makes people wrinkle their nose and say, "Oh, it must suck then," and then even if it's fixed, people rarely ever kind of give it a second chance.
Exactly, and it's too bad because reputations they can be a bitch.
Yeah,
and I feel this one definitely suffered from a bad reputation because they did some good work to clean it up and make it more enjoyable.
Yeah, well, bad
not to say it's perfect, but
bad reputation is exactly what this list is about.
Yes, exactly.
So it warrants it perfectly. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, that's why I've got it on there. Even though it's a 71, I feel that it is definitely one that the
public's
to this
overlooked.
day, exactly, the public has just been like, well, fuck this game. It's like, well, yeah, it's not, there's reasons to take a look at it again. So, but yeah,
fair enough.
All right, well, what's your next?
Alrighty, now this one you might also know. Second place award goes to a game that's a bit of a remastering of a famously frustrating castle crawler that had its fated leap into the Nintendo 64-bit era.
Oh, yes!
And whose new 3D controls exploded up in Konami's faces like a vial of magic nitro.
I love this game.
The remaster, and the original aren't night and day different, card reference. But despite adding better graphics, new enemies, and alternate versions of some levels, this game can still be crucified for its terrible, terrible camera system and some horrid 3D platforming. Put a stake through its heart because my vote goes for Castlevania Legacy of Darkness on the Nintendo 64. Yeah. The reason why, besides this, I have it on my list is because, number one, playing Castlevania 64 with you guys was fucking awesome. I remember running through the hedge maze with that Frankenstein monster that you can't kill.
Dude, the hedge maze was cool.
So it has certainly some memorable moments, like the spider chicks crawling out of the sewers, and you open the gates and there's giant skeleton and stuff. And for our less critical minds back in those days, it was pretty wicked. Even though the platforming again was, oh god, it was bad.
What's so tough with those controllers?
Yeah. It was an era of early 3D. The camera systems weren't exactly there. They didn't have the dual stick configuration that is the standard now. But they tried, and I don't think it was a great success. But every once in a while, I'll actually boot up Castlevania Legacy of Darkness, and where you play as Cornelius the werewolf. Mm-hmm. And you start off on the ship, and there's that giant serpent on it, and the ship sinking and stuff. And it's still a fun game if you can get past a lot of the camera issues, and especially that nitro mission in the original, where I never got past it, going through the gears and shit. I could not get through it because I thought you had to go through the gears and I'd blow up every single time. And even if you fall off like 2 inches worth of platform, you blow up and you die. So at that point, I was just like, yeah, screw this game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, some of it was a little tough. No, I owned 64, so honestly, I thought that you were going to say 64. So
nope, I'm saying the slight upgrade is what it was.
Yeah.
But again, they didn't fix camera or some of the platforming, so
yeah,
it's more like an expansion. Really, is what it ended up being.
Oh, okay.
Because the original was bundled in with it, except you got like a new character to play as and a couple new places to go.
Oh, nice. Oh.
But as far as the original, I mean, I remember you played the hell out of it. So
yeah, that was good shit. That was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people didn't like that one because just the camera system, as you said, was a little wonky. So being able to aim and everything, but I mean, if you were playing in the 64 era, since it came around, then you were pretty well adjusted with how wonky camera systems can be, and
Turok Dinosaur Hunter, GoldenEye 64, even
GoldenEye, and yeah, I mean they were pretty clean. It was just, I remember I was able to deliver headshots like no other on GoldenEye just using those C buttons and such. But I mean, you try it now and holy shit!
Yeah,
I tried playing GoldenEye again back like a couple months ago, and man, it's just tough.
Yeah,
it's really tough.
If you could have gone back in time and told Nintendo to do 2 sticks, one for like camera, one for movement, you would have been a billionaire. If they would listen to you, but still.
I don't think they would have. that's no.
We're doing the pitchfork
really
controller. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of games that had some odd camera this stuff back then, but I mean, they were just at the mercy of the controller. There's only so much you can do.
Yep. Because I know they remastered Turok Dinosaur Hunter and Turok 2, and I mean, if you play it on PC, it plays fine.
Yeah.
But playing it on a 1064 controller, where you're using the C buttons to look around and stuff, it's janky. It's janky.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. No, it was interesting.
But again, it was the prototypical days. I mean, this is like learn to fly,
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of Nintendo in a nutshell. I mean, try to find a controller that followed suit with everything else. I mean, you're going to be looking at Nintendo and Super Nintendo, but beyond that, it's been unique controllers for every single system ever since.
Yep.
So that's just their game. That's how they roll. Sometimes they start a new trend like they did with the Wiimotes, and sometimes they just make something like the Nintendo 64 controller.
I was gonna say sometimes they win like the Wiimotes, and sometimes they lose like the Wiimotes.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Wii. It was not my.
Yeah, most of the games I saw coming off of were gimmicky. Like they had a Mortal Kombat game where you use like waggle controls to like do special moves, like quarter circle with your wrist.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah,
so stupid.
Some games just aren't meant for that level of innovation.
Yeah.
Speaking of innovation, tell me your number 2.
All right.
Tell me how innovative it was, and what kind of a crater it left in the hearts and minds of gamers.
So number 2, I found some pretty shocking ones too by the same company.
LJN.
That I was no. Avalanche actually, because I was thinking of either between Mad Max that came out, which was a phenomenal game. If you love the Mad Max series, then this game is so good. Oh my god. And then the other one, which I just yesterday got my platinum trophy on, Rage 2, which I was surprised to see Rage 2, because Mad Max is at a 69 on Metacritic. Rage 2 is at a 60 or a 67. And I was surprised to see that. But the game I'm going to go with, though, just because I enjoy the living hell out of it. And any time that I have a friend over that we just want to throw down on a game and have a stupid fun with, this is a game I love to be able to boot up. Double Dragon Neon.
Hey.
Yes.
How? Okay, you and I had a blast with that, right? Hopefully we get the video out by then. By the time this comes out, though, but you and I had a blast with that game.
Yeah,
it was seriously panned.
Yeah.
Really?
It's so Double Dragon Neon has a 66 Metacritic score. It's a 7.4 user score, so that's good. But I mean, the reviews on this is definitely it kind of ranges more towards kind of the middle and such. Unless you're the one person from IGN that hated it because there was too many high five and 80s references. God. This person hated the 80s, apparently. Like, something bad happened in the 80s for this person. You told me this story,
so tell it again.
Yeah, it's just like, just going off about how much he hates that there's high fives in the game, and that there's just
80s tropes, even though it's
just everything. Yeah, because the whole point of the game is 80s. I mean, it's filled with a whole bunch of neon and a whole bunch of reference, like, whoa, dude, radical, things like that. It's and it's doing it in spite of itself. Like, it's making it knows that it's not a game to be taken seriously, and so that's why they throw it all in there. I mean, and the references are great. I mean, you've got like a boss that's like Mega Man in there. You've got the main guy who's like Skeletor /
Shredder. Yeah, I was going to say, obviously it's a reference to the 80s because it's got a main villain that's Skeletor and Shredder.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of really fun 80s references to everything, and and the Lee brothers, they're not like these cool dudes or anything like that. They're kind of doofuses, but the gameplay is solid. The side scrolling is brawling is a lot of fun, and it's challenging. Really, I mean, there's some parts that are really challenging, but And the best part of the whole thing to me is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is so good. Like, I mean, there are just some absolute toe tappers on there.
Mango Tango.
Yeah, just so much good stuff. And so it's a bummer to see this be able to get that kind of score. But at the same time, it was coming on out in the times of you had like Castle Crashers and Scott Pilgrim versus the World that were really good and really well known side scrollers. So for this to come on out and not have that level of polish and shine, it kind of made some people I don't know, maybe not appreciate it as much, or I don't know.
You're telling me a story, and I think it's the same game, but the IGN would like go back and look at their like the reviews they got wrong.
Yeah.
So go ahead and explain that one.
So back then, IGN had a thing where they would look at what other reviewing publications would put for a game. So, for like Dishonored or something, like, well, then GameSpot gave it this review, and Kotaku gave it this review, and all of this stuff, so it would just have a whole bunch of different reviews from all of the things. So when Double Dragon Neon came on up, I remember, I think it was it Naomi Kyle or Jessica Cho, about one of them, they were like, well, so then you have this people who gave it this, this positive review. Everything is a positive review for Double Dragon Neon for the most part. Some of them were a little middling. And then at the very bottom, there is IGN with like a 2, a 2 or 3. And they're like, and it looks like we gave it a 2. Or 3 or whatever it was, and she's like, like you could just see her up there, just kind of like a little awkward, because like, well, I guess we didn't like it here, but you go ahead and choose what you think.
Well, usually, don't I remember you saying that doesn't IGN try to like at least try to justify why they give reviews different from everyone else, and this one they couldn't.
Yeah, no, there's
like,
just no.
We don't like high fives and 80s. It's like, what the fuck are you doing playing this game? Dude, for you.
It was a ridiculous. Yeah, I remember reading the review and just thinking it was just absolutely ridiculous, because this guy just kept going back on how terrible it was because of all the 80s stuff in it.
Oh, it's the exact same thing on that. I think it's 2009 Splatterhouse game for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, where IGN gave it. I think it was like an 8 in graphics, 7 for gameplay, another 8, another 7, overall 4. And it's like, you gotta be, what kind of fucking fuzzy math shit is this?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why thank goodness for Metacritic, because then you can kind of get more of a bird's eye view rather than someone who just doesn't have a good opinion of a particular type of game. I mean, God Hand got the same shit, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I didn't follow that one too much.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it got like a 2, 3, or 4 or something like that.
Yeah, God Hand is definitely, it's more one of those more cult classic kind of games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's beloved by the fan base, but not so much from all the syndications and such.
Well, do you want to hear my number one spot? Because despite it not having a fan base, it seems to keep coming back.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
All right, so nice segue. My top pick for guilty pleasure, personal guilty pleasure, is a complete catastrophe of when a cynical corporate entity tries to manufacture a mascot to rival Sonic and Mario on their own respective consoles, while at the same time combining Mario's superior platforming with Sonic's speed for a dizzying disaster. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. Play cartoon, the packaging and the full-page game magazine ad said, and my little 9-year-old brain ate that shit up. It's actually the second Super Nintendo game I've ever owned. So for this piece of absolute nostalgia, it gets the top spot. It's Bubsy the Bobcat in Claws and Counters with the furred kind.
I remember playing that at your house.
It's shit. And the worst thing is, they keep making Bubsy games like someone gives a shit, except for me. Well, they did a brand new Bubsy game. It's not the Bit Trip Runner one. It's the one before that, Woolly Strike Back or some shit. And it's like $25, and it's like a game that people say it only lasts about 2 hours. Fuck that.
Oh no. Oh no.
But for the original Bubsy, again, it was the second in the Super Nintendo game I ever got when I was about 9 or 10. And I remember not liking it. I couldn't exactly articulate why, but I kept playing it till I beat it. The game is a platforming disaster. You get fall damage, you skid, you run too fast. When you start running fast, you can't stop until you hit the reverse direction on the directional pad. And everything kills you in one hit. So, if you have platforming levels where you're supposed to jump and collect little yarn balls like they're magic rings or coins, like a Mario game, but then you run like Sonic, it's an absolute disaster. It takes everything I hate about Sonic the Hedgehog and turns it up to 11.
Nice. That's the good stuff. I remember playing a little bit of it over at your place.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And I don't have much to say on it because I didn't have a whole lot of time with it, but to me, I mean, it just I'm not the biggest fan of platformers, even back in the day. Just because all of them kind of have like they're all the same in their own way.
Yes.
And so I didn't really pick up, I guess, back in the day how bad this one could be.
Yeah, especially when you see it kind of perfected in other games. But yeah, it's as far as platformers go, it's the most. You get to certain areas and there's like water slides and things, and you jump onto this water slide and you go the wrong direction. It takes you all the way back to the beginning of the level.
Nice.
I mean, there's like there's some level variations as far as like, you know, you can go underground in some places, you can go up top in some, you can explore a level a bit, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It's basically Sonic the Hedgehog, except it's worse. It's basically Sonic the Hedgehog, but worse. When you run in Sonic the Hedgehog, the originals, you go at a blinding speed, and you only have because your character's in the middle of the screen, you only have a fraction of a second to react to anything you see. Meaning you run full bore like you're supposed to, and then an enemy pops up and you don't even have time to react, you just hit it. And in this case, you don't lose rings and get to keep going, you fucking die.
Yeah.
So it's an absolutely brutal level. The only level I actually liked was, I think, the third world. There's three mini chapters per world, I think, for like a total of, I don't know, I don't give a shit. But there's a western world where you're on like this train cart where it's a bit more straightforward, which was significantly better, but I don't know why I keep playing that every once in a while. I must be a masochist.
Yeah. I mean, to its credit, I always thought that the whole ring thing with Sonic was a little cheap. It's like, well, as long as you're hanging on to a ring, you're okay.
You won't die.
Well, I can just keep grabbing the same fucking ring. Like,
yeah, you get hit, you just grab someone as they're bouncing around, and you got basically
exactly. Like it was to me that was kind of a cheap mechanic, and it made the game super easy. So I give credit to platformers that don't go back to something like that. Give you a little bit of a challenge, but
I know like Sonic Mania game created by Sonic fans handles the speed aspect and the platforming aspect much better than Sega probably ever did. And I know like some other fan games like Planet Freedom kind of does better with the speed aspect than Sega did with Sonic, and obviously Acclaim ever did with Bubsy. So I don't know. You can't have a character run full bore and then have very intricate and precise platforming elements. It doesn't work, because otherwise you go fast until you have to stop, and then you have to stop and jump slow, jump carefully, then go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And again, they keep making Bubsy games like people give a shit. Even if you watch a JonTron video, no one gives a shit. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting character to try to keep bringing back. I mean,
have you ever seen you ever seen the animated series pilot? Go on YouTube and look up Bubsy animated series pilot. It's cringy.
I don't know if I need that in my life.
You don't need it. You don't need it. I'm just saying it's there if somebody actually wants to be a masochist like me.
Oh, yay!
But yeah, it's an annoying main character, terrible gameplay, and especially in the new one, or not the new one, but the second to newest one, 2-hour game for $25. Fuck you, Bubsy.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. No, it's not. It deserves it, and unfortunately, it also deserves my number one spot. So, speaking of number one spot, what do you got, dude? What's wow me?
Well, this is the ultimate guilty pleasure for me, because I loved the hell out of this game, and not a lot of other people did, and for justifiable reasons. But this game, it's got a 53 Metascore there, but a 7.1 user score, which I'm actually surprised to see. But there's not a whole lot of user reviews either.
So one person gave it like a 7, and now it has a 7.
Yeah, two people gave it a positive, and 3 people gave it mixed. So we've got a grand total of 5 reviews here then. But with critic reviews, we've got 2 positive reviews, 35 mixed, and 16 negatives. So
are the positives like some really weird like Dutch game reviewing sites or fan sites or something like Das Game or something?
No, it doesn't seem to be really.
Das Spiel.
So yeah, no, for the most part, yeah, they seem to be pretty creditable. But I don't know. But this game is Eat Lead: The Return of Mad Hazard. And this game, I know everybody's heard of it. It was such a huge game. This game, I don't even know how it got my attention, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm having like a brain aneurysm right now because I've recognized the name, but I don't recognize what it looks like. One second, I need to look this shit up.
I don't blame you. Yeah, go for
Hazard.
It. It's a third-person shooter.
It's not on Steam.
Yeah, no, not at all. I wish it was. I'd play the hell out of it if it was.
When Drake of the 99 Dragons is on Steam and Max Hazard isn't.
Yeah. So, it's your basic third-person cover-based shooter kind of game. The scenario is that you play as Mad Hazard, who is one of in this world. Is like the guy. He's like the Duke Nukem, the most notorious video game character of all time. Kind of guy. And in this world also, like Mad Hazard, like he's self-aware, he's just like, I used to have it all, used to be the cool guy on the scene and all that. And then years went by and suddenly I'm starring in Super Soaker video games and, just all of these different projects that he tried to get back up, but he just sounds like he's more of a modern day Tara Reid or Lindsay Lohan, where he's just struggling to get back on up to where he used to be, but just keeps falling harder and harder.
God, I found it. I know the game you're talking about.
Yes.
Fucking
shit. So what happens is that there is a game company, this big game company that says, hey, we're picking you up. We're going to give you your own game. We're making a comeback for you. He's like, all right, let's do this. And so then they start making the game. And as he's running through the levels, finding out that everything's kind of getting hacked, including the level. And that's kind of the fun part about this game, is that if you understand game development, even just on the basic level, the humor of this game is fantastic, because then it starts adding in all of the different assets from the collection of this mega developer. Or game publisher. They start using all of their former assets from former games and throwing them into there. So like you're running around this steel warehouse, and then suddenly the world starts dissolving and reforming into a weird western. And then all of the weapons that you're able to pick up are just like 6-shooters and all that stuff. So like the weapons that you're able to even grab at that point are changed. The shooting aspects of it, if you're a big fan of SWAT from the playing Halo Online, then you'll enjoy this game, because really headshots are the only way to go. If you're you will unleash clip upon clip of your guns on body shots, but headshots will take people down instantly. So that's pretty much the game. You're just shooting them in the head.
So it's discount Duke Nukem trying to get his fame back.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, is that this hacker who's trying to kill him continues. So if he dies, he gets a game over and it's done. He's wiped off from the digital realm. He's gone. And so what happens is that there's a fan of his in the form of kind of a Cortana kind of thing there. But another hacker comes in and kind of makes a little like backdoor for him, so that's able to save his progress and upload everything for him and all that. So it's pretty goofy. You know, if you understand all of the development stuff and you know how backdoors can be able to work and how glitches are, they purposely put in glitches, and you know you'll be running around and suddenly out of nowhere you have these people coming down and with like super soakers and water pistols, and he's like, oh shit, they're throwing in the people from my fucking water soaker game, you know. And so then instead of like, you know, you get yourself a rifle, but it's a big super soaker squirt gun, so when you're reloading, you know, you hit the reload button there and he's just pumping it up. He's just pumping up the gun, so water pressure, so he can shoot people again. And you're just running around just hosing people with water and you're killing them. And it's stupid. It knows it is, and it's fun, and I enjoy the hell out of it. I'm a sucker for stupid humor, and this one definitely.
It kind of sounds like Duke Nukem with Tron kind of vibe to it, and then also that level in the Deadpool game where like he's doing stuff and he realizes there's like an area that doesn't have finished assets. So it's like meta Duke Nukem.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is very meta Duke Nukem. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Don't expect a whole lot from it, but I mean, you'll laugh.
I was gonna ask what made people hate it though. Is it just a little too wonky? Is it hard to control?
Yeah.
Is he a charisma vacuum?
Yeah. No, it's just not. At the time, you know, this was when the 360 was really starting to head off. You know, a lot of good games were starting to come out for it and all that. And you know, when this comes on out amongst all of those, then it makes it look bad when you're, you know, standing it up next to the Halo games and all of that. And it's not. I mean, it's not a
AAA game.
You could tell that it's made from a middle tier developer. It was made from D3. And so it's not going to be something where you're like, oh, the mechanics of this game were outstanding. It's like, no, it's not. Again, going through even on normal, you still have to blast everybody in the head unless you want to waste a lot of time putting in body shots. So, you know, if you fancy yourself a sharpshooter, then you know it would be a fun game for people to be able to go through.
Because again, the premise kind of sounds like an adult Wreck-It Ralph. But I was wondering, it must have got panned by the gameplay and some of that kind of stuff. Like you said, having to shoot the guy 9 times in the body or 1 time in the head.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big part. But you know, it just depends on your level of humor too. I mean, you've got people who
don't like high fives.
Yeah. It's like the most positive review on here gave it an 81. And it said, I had fun and laughed my ass off playing this game from start to finish. Then you look at the lowest one who gave it a 10 and says, eat lead as an outdated relic and it does nothing original or creative with its wealth of diverse, high quality source material available to it. And then another one said that the humorous vibe of the game isn't funny and the gameplay sucks too.
That was what I was thinking. It might have been the humor's fine, but the gameplay sucks.
Yeah, no. Some people just did not like the humor, and if you don't like the humor, then it may be hard to get through because it's definitely the humor and just kind of the parody to it that makes the game, and then the gameplay is middling. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. You don't see a whole lot of games like it that will kind of play itself with that kind of parody to game development. So I thought this was a lot of fun.
Kind of sounds like it'd make a better movie than a game, though. I mean, just have the concept sounds interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. It's stupid, but it's fun.
Pixar ends up buying their idea for like a couple $1 billion or something, just so they can use kind of a loose basis for Wreck-It Ralph 3.
Yeah, exactly.
A video game character is gonna be back in vogue, but then the developers fuck it up, and he gets hacked.
Well, and the funny thing is, because how many? So the next year, even after this whole thing got hit pretty hard with bad reviews, another developer picked up the the torch for it though, and made a side scroller out of it. And actually, I mean, the meta score on that is at a 63 with a user score of 8.7. It was actually pretty general. I saw pretty much some really good reviews for it. So it actually did pretty damn good for a side scroller.
Hey, it kind of sounds like Bubsy. The latest Bubsy game is actually doing pretty good because it's made by the same guys who make Bit Trip Runner.
Ah, nice.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe both of our guilty pleasures are finding some type of like some kind of resurrection or something. I don't know.
I don't know. This
has been a while,
side scroller that it's been 10 years. So
no, never mind then.
I don't think we'll see. I don't think we'll see Mad Hazard return.
You know it's bad when Bubsy beats your game for a sequel. Yeah,
Jesus. I'm kind of I'm bummed about it, but it is what it is, though.
Nah, well at least you still have it. And you can play it, so.
I'll remember it fondly. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so what are you playing lately? I mean, not guilty pleasures, but like, what's the latest game you've can recommend to people?
Well, I mean, like I said, I just finished up my platinum trophy run for Rage 2. It's on sale right now in a lot of places, and I just think, I mean, if you like Mad Max, and blood and cool sci-fi weapons, it's a hell of a good game. It's a lot of fun. I mean, the amount of freedom that you have on the battlefield is awesome. It's a blast.
Better than the first one though, right? Because it wasn't the first one kind of met kind of lukewarm responses. I mean, it was praised, but it was just kind of like one of those games. It's like it doesn't really do anything new.
Actually, it has a better Metacritic score.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've heard that the Rage 2 did better than the original.
No, the original did better than Rage 2.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. So which was shocking to me because I liked Rage, and at the time, I mean, it was a great looking game, and it had some really cool AI with it and such. But it always just felt like it was too small of a world. Like they wanted to do something big with it, and they just really couldn't. Just felt like there was something lacking there. Where this, I mean, they give you a huge world to mess around in, and there's not a whole lot of missions. You know, you're just kind of going around and taking out bandit outposts and all that stuff, but it has some pretty cool lore to it, and they created to me an interesting world. But yeah, to me it's a lot of fun. But yeah, just wrap that up though, and for the most part, yeah, I'm on something new now. I don't know what that is. I think I might jump back into Star Wars Battlefront 2, another universally panned game when it first came out, but it's turned around and becomes really good actually now.
Nice.
They gave 2 years of free updates and all of that there, and so yeah, I'm actually looking to jump back into that.
The game I've been playing lately is Dead Cells.
Ooh, nice. I've been wanting to play
kind of a Metroid game, and I'm playing it mostly just for the pixel art, to be honest, because it's not the
you? No.
Yes, I know. Me, a boomer? What? But no, they did something really, really interesting. The game protagonist is actually a 3D model. But then,
cool.
So that they could animate every single like whip animation and hammer animation, and you get tons of weapons, right? I mean, just tons of weapons. In order to animate them all, they didn't want to make individual pixels, so what they do is they have a 3D model do it, and then the game engine actually like processes the model's animations, converts it into actual pixel art, and spits it on the screen.
Nice.
So it's a fascinating geeky thing.
Yeah.
But it looks and plays gorgeous, and it's fun. And if you ever watch the trailers, they're kind of tongue in cheek. So
yeah. Nice.
Other than that, I'm just trying to, practice up on Tekken and to beat the crap out of a couple people over here because I've been getting my ass whipped on Tekken, so I gotta bust out Brian Fury.
Dude, and immediately when you mentioned it the other day, I'm like, oh boy, he's gonna be playing Brian again.
Yep.
He's remember playing Tekken Tag all the time over at your place.
Brian and Yoshimitsu.
Yep, exactly. That was those damn kicks from Yoshimitsu, dude.
The ballerina kicks. Oh my god, I was in college. I was playing Tekken 4 or 5 against one of my roommates, and he thought it was all that. So I started doing all those Yoshimitsu ballerina kicks, and he threw his controller against the wall. I was like, God damn, man, calm down.
Those kicks, dude, like they're fast and they drain your health. Like they're terrible. they're tough. It's Yoshimitsu. I would say the only other person that's worse to fight than Yoshimitsu is Eddie Gordo.
Oh, Eddie's great. What was it? The dancing kung fu, whatever it is. But man, you get him going, man, and he's just crazy.
Yeah, he's terrible. I had a friend who loved playing as him, so I knew every move, just watching how his body's turning. I could be able to tell what combo he was going to do just because I had to play against him so much.
Spend less time watching the screen as you do watching him.
Oh yeah, that was exactly it. And then just finding a spot to be able to counter in. It was just so much. It was a pain. But
have they created a character in Tekken that's a drunk boxer yet? One like a Drunken Master with Jackie Chan?
I thought they did.
Because a drunken boxer, man, what makes that fighting style so unique and interesting is that it is absolutely unpredictable.
Yeah, that was tough playing when I used to play Dead or Alive, the Dead or Alive series a bunch with Cody. Mm-hmm. He always played Brad, who was the drunken fighter of the game. And he was tough because you think he's going to strike high and then he just falls to the ground and starts kicking you.
Yep.
You're like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to attack this?
Yeah, the unpredictability is what makes it such a crazy and interesting martial art.
Yeah. Did you one game actually I'm going to be getting into here too. Is a game called The Hong Kong Massacre. Have you seen anything on that?
I've seen in passing on Steam. I don't know much about it though.
Yeah, looks kind of cool. I mean, it looks like freaking, oh my god, what was that? The video game sequel of Hard Boiled, pretty much. What?
Stranglehold.
Stranglehold. Thank you. It's pretty much Stranglehold, but top down.
So it's kind of like not Miami Connection. What the fuck is it called? Hotline Miami, right?
No, I mean, no. What?
Not visually, but I mean, they said it's top down and it's like Stranglehold. So is it kind of like?
Oh, Hotline Miami. Yeah, I was thinking of something else there. Yeah. Yeah. No, it is like Hotline Miami in terms of just an isometric view. Yeah.
No, it's like Miami cool. Connection, friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty.
God, yes, it. Yeah,
we'll make that our ending theme song.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Nice. We won't
Everybody can hate us now,
but we're gonna keep that.
Excellent.
Hey, if it's good enough for Far Cry Blood Dragon, it's good enough for us.
Yeah, exactly.